I love him, and I want portraits of him in this video.
Sweet.
He just became the mascot for our house.
Abby, you're the mascot because you're so pretty. Yes, pretty girl.
Mhm.
Okay, she'll be joining us.
Okay, so what I need you to do is you're going to go up to the top corner, and the second icon is the screen share. You're going to pick that, and then you're just going to select the window for whatever you're using to show off your pictures.
Okay. So you're like in a separate window? Is it the
Yeah,
little blue thing? No?
yeah,
Yes?
the little green one, the second one above.
Okay.
When you mouse over, it'll say screen share, and then it'll bring up a little window, and it'll ask you which window you want to share. So you just want to click whichever one is showing.
All right.
Um,
Yeah, let me pull. So I'll pull up iPhoto that's got the stuff in
yep,
it.
perfect.
All right, hold on a sec.
I'm
Okay.
so excited you've been killing it lately. I was really excited when I got your message the other night.
Okay, I've got a little pop-up thing that says Google Talk plugin would like to control this computer using accessibility features. Should I?
No?
It says deny. Should I deny it?
Yeah, deny. We'll
Okay.
see. If it gets disconnected, then we'll say yes.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to click it over to your screen so it'll stay right there and I can see your first image beautifully. So we're just going to go through. You're going to talk about creating it and what the image says to you and any problems you were having and what you think about it, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
You
So
start.
this was a paying client. Um, Really fun girl to work with. Kind of interesting because she is of Muslim religion, so this is unusual that she would want to do this kind of shoot.
Mhm.
Um, I just love this picture. I mean, I definitely see things that I would change in it if I had it to do over. Like I said, I would have turned her body away from the light and turned her face back to it. But I really like it. I think it's one of my favorite images I've ever taken.
Okay. I'm gonna disagree with you. Um, but I love the mood of it. It's very serene and it's got this sort of peace about her, but it's still very sensual, and I love that idea. And she's just beautiful. As far as things that I don't like, I'm not liking where you cropped it at her legs, just because it crops at her knee going forward. So I think that it's widening her out and making her look stunted a little bit.
Okay.
Um, the other thing is that I'm a huge fan of covering the body and doing implied nudes without it being like the infamous hand bra.
Right.
But I think that the way that you positioned her, the way that her arm goes across, completely covers anything that was left of the line of her hips. So
Right.
she's literally all elbows and knees.
Yeah. Got
Um,
it.
so the things that most people find really sensual about women is their abs, those that, Coca-Cola kind of hourglass figure. You did reclaim it a little bit with the décolletage
Right.
and the collarbone, which I'm a big fan of. But I think that it's just not really flattering as far as her figure, and she looks like a fairly slender person. So, um, you want to try to find ways to cross it in a way that it leads you into the center of her body. So basically, women's bodies are two triangles. Like that's why they get the hourglass figure. It's like across the top of the shoulders and then down to the waist is one, and then it widens back out at the hips. So you kind of squared her off, and if you look at the overall shape of her body, she's kind of got this kind of convex rectangle thing going on.
Right.
So if you had pulled her elbows a little bit closer and just dropped that knee a little bit, you would
Right.
have had a little bit more curve with her. And like you said, turning the face towards the light and the body away will add to the slenderness. Like you know this.
Yeah.
Um, so I love the emotion of the shot, but visually for me, this one's kind of missing the mark as far as posing and potency. So
So
um,
I'm almost finding it harder with women with smaller breasts to do this than it is with women with large ones because it almost seems harder to cover them up when they're small. Does that make sense? Than when
yeah,
they're larger?
and really, if you have them and they're pretty petite framed and they don't have a lot that they have to cover, that gives you a lot more flexibility with the posing. So I'm gonna break tradition and actually take you off for a minute. So instead of having them cover up their whole bodies, because this is the other thing, like crossing your arms is a sign of I'm not comfortable, or I'm mad, right? So you have to be careful with the way that you do that. So you brought that back with her crossing her one hand over the other. I guess it's the other way for you because everything's reversed. But if you had brought her arms in, just watch the difference between I'm still covered, but as opposed to if I bring the elbows in. See how the lines go right down towards the center of the body, even though they're wide? And then if she's a little bit bigger and has bigger arms, then it's very easy to come over. And then it's just a matter of changing position with her until you find those lines. But if they're really small and petite up top, then do one hand.
Right, yeah.
And have it, or, she's got really gorgeous long hair. I'm telling you right now, I would have pulled all that hair forward and had that covering the one and just had one hand across the other. Or, like I would have done one of these.
Sorry, I'm going to say, I'm definitely finding these kind of shots are way harder to do than they look.
They are. They really are. Posing is an art, and it comes naturally to me, and I haven't realized until I started teaching how many people really struggle with it. The other thing to keep in mind and to explain to your clients is that they don't have to cover up. Like, they don't have to put their hands on their body in order to do implied nudity, because I can go like this and go, okay, you're not going to see anything. But I can also go like this, and even though my hand's out, like, you can position. So a lot of times if you look at my implied nudes, they're like this, and it's just enough, even though their arm's not there. Because the other thing is that if you're shooting plus size girls, as soon as you pull that arm, it makes it look wider as opposed to when it's away from the body.
I had not even thought about that, how if I'm shooting them, they don't have to be touching it.
Exactly. They just have to be positioned. But you have to explain it to them because their inclination is also to cover up.
Right.
And because their clothes sit against their body, they go, oh, I'm going to sit like this, or I'm going to cross my arms against my body, as opposed to something like this, which is much kinder. And then you just give them something to do. So, like, if you look at mine, like, a lot of times, like, they're like this or like that, and it's so their hands are still covering them from the line of view of the camera, but it's not against their body.
Right.
Does that make sense?
A simple tip. Why did no one ever tell me that before?
Because they're not as smart as me.
That's what it is.
Next one. Oh, did I grade you? I'm going to give you a 2 on this. I think it's commendable. I don't think you quite hit the mark, but...
Okay.
Okay. Next shot.
Okay.
See, right there, implied nude.
Yeah, dang it. And she was going to come back and do an implied nude, and then she lost the nerve. But
okay. Yeah, but this pose would totally work. You might have to pull that right arm over just a little bit more to cover it, but there you go. She could be totally naked right now and nothing would be on display.
And that would look so nice.
And look at the lines of her body, right?
Okay, so that's why I like this image, because it's in, out. Well, I love how she's styled. Apart from her eyelashes. This was my first time using a makeup artist other than me doing it. And I was not in charge of it enough. I had 3 people all at once that day. First time I've ever shot more than one person at a time. And I lost control of hair and makeup a little bit. Mm-hmm. Actually, after my makeup artist left, I took her eyes down and redid her. But apart from her eyelashes, I love the pose. I love her styling. I like her expression. Really happy with that image.
I really like this one too. I think the light is beautiful. I love all the texture in the top and the sheer part of her outfit, and a lot of times you see women when they're shot on a dark background, you tend to lose their hair in the background, and a lot of times the hair is too dark and you can't get the texture in the individual strands of hair. So, bravo on that. I love the position of her body. This is the pose that you're looking for. See how you still get that really nice curve to her back that says, I'm slender and curvy and feminine. But but it looks much more relaxed. She doesn't look like she's protecting herself. She looks like come and get me, which
Right.
is exactly what you're looking for in these kind of images.
Okay.
Her makeup is pretty, but I think you lost her just a little bit on the face. She's smiling for the camera. She's not smiling for to entice someone or out of any genuine emotion. You can tell she's putting the face on for the camera.
Itching in the mouth.
Yeah, yeah, the tightness in the mouth is always a dead giveaway. And it's so funny when people do that because, like, if you look at her mouth right now, you can tell that the cheekbones came up to say smile, but the ends of her lips are turned down,
Yeah.
like a frown. That's the thing. Smile.
I'm struggling a lot with expression. I mean, how many times can I say smirk in the eyes, relax your mouth? I mean, I don't know. What can I do?
So instead of telling them what you want to do, are you familiar with Peter Hurley? This is like his claim to fame. You know, yeah, well, the squinching is one thing, but when he shot me, he's like, okay, he's like, listen, I just need you to like, he's like, don't smile, just take the corners of your mouth and pull them back to your earlobes.
Okay.
Oh, like, yeah, and I did the same thing. I was like, well, isn't that smiling? You know? But what it did was it got me to relax because while I was thinking about it and I realized he was just telling me to smile in a different way, like then it made me laugh. Then he took the shot and he got the emotion. So if you want genuine emotion to show on their face, then you have to inspire a genuine emotion. If I want girls to look really fierce at the camera, you know, you and I are going to just be going back and forth. You know, I won't tell them to, you know, squinch or
Right.
smile. You know, it's not like that. Then it's just, you know, if I want them to look mean and fierce, I'm like, who's the last person that really pissed you off? The last person that you thought, I'm probably going to go to jail for killing this person. And they immediately think of that person and it comes in their face without me having to tell them a thing. Same thing. If I want them to give me a look that says, come get me, I'm like, when's the last, like for me right now, all you'd have to do is go, what's the face your husband's going to get when he gets home in another 6 months? Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, come and get me. So if you tell stories to people and you let them play a character,
Right.
then you'll get a genuine reaction as opposed to going, just smile a little bit or just smile with your eyes. Nobody knows how to do that. But if I tell them, a lot of times the best way to do it instead of saying smile with your eyes is go, okay, give me your biggest, cheesiest, you know, school photo smile from elementary school. And then go, okay, now I want you to just drop it from your lips. Because then all of their face changes. Like people don't realize, like when you tell people to smile, they only move their mouth. When
Right.
people genuinely smile, they smile with their whole face. So when you get that emotion with their whole face, then you can have them just drop it from the lips and it becomes that little smirk.
Okay.
So, but overall, I think this is a really beautiful image. I'm going to give you a commendable for it.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm going to give you exceptional. I think it's beautiful. I don't have any real negative critiques besides her face.
The mouth. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't really know why I picked this. This was
That
like,
was a bad way to start out.
I mean, I like it. I do like it. I see a lot of errors in it, but then again, I'm not sure if the errors, like, should she be pulled up more out of her thoracic spine, or is it that's how she would be if she was, you know, that's the kind of come to bed look?
Mm-hmm.
Um, hmm. I like her expression.
I do too. I think she's given bedroom eyes all day. That's totally believable. And I am a big fan of boudoir photography being more about voyeurism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's less posed. Like if you're doing posing, then you should be shooting like Varga Girl style prints. But for her, she looks totally natural and relaxed. This looks like one of those moments that whoever loves her will remember when he's 80 years old of how she used to look at him when the morning light was falling on her kind of thing. You know, you can tell yourself stories about this image, and she totally brought that with her face. I think because of how relaxed but come get me her expression is, that the pose doesn't bother me, that it's a little bit more relaxed. I would have dropped that shoulder down a little bit just to give her a little bit more line on her neck because she looks a little scrunched. Yeah. And I'm also a big fan of this. Don't cover the midsection. If she can
Yeah.
walk around, if whatever she can walk around in public exposed, you never cover those parts.
Right, because she loses that curve right there.
Right. So you lost a lot of the line of her back that would have added back what you're saying. If I pulled her up, I would have got more line. She would have had plenty of that without the fabric, especially because the highlights are a little high there. So you lose the fabric in the top of the photo in the white.
So should have just kept the sheet kind of in the front and not pulled it up around onto her back.
Yeah, so I would have kept it up in the front, or I would have pulled it down further and just had it covering over the curve of her bum. Like,
Yeah.
just enough to get like a little bit of that curve and like the edge of the dimples that appeal on the back, I think are really one where it's like, oh, you probably shouldn't be seeing this. It's just a little too low, completely accidental, of course, you
Right.
know, to make it really sensual. But there's no reason to cover up her midsection if she can walk around in a bikini or in a midriff all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially her back, like,
Yeah. Why did I do that?
because you're learning.
That was the
And
first time I ever tried that particular.
I don't think it kills the image. This is still a beautiful shot, but these are like the little nitpicking things that take you from good to
I
exceptional.
guess it doesn't kill it because I've had probably 5 clients since request me to do that shot for them.
There you go.
So, okay.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't like about it is that it severs her body. Like you have her upper body and then the fabric, and because there's so much white empty space around her and it blends right into it, you lose it, and then there's this other patch of skin that's like her hips and her bum. So
Okay.
actually I would be very curious if you just dodged that out, or is it dodge or burn? Whichever. If you would have lightened that out and like kind of blended it in so that her body ended there, then it would have been a very tasteful and more modest kind of image, but you wouldn't have that severing of her body.
Okay.
Good for thought. And I don't actually know that it's going to work, but it's something that I would think to try if it was mine. So, but overall, I still think it's a really beautiful shot. I'm going to give you a commendable on it.
Okie doke. All right. Um, okay, this is the client that just bought my biggest package.
Uh-huh. Congratulations.
So this was funny because when I edited this picture, I edited it just for me because I didn't think any parent would be interested in an image like this. And then I stuck it in their slideshow just out of curiosity to see what they do. And the mom actually cried when she saw this image.
Mm-hmm.
What do I like about it? I like the way she's looking at me very strongly. I like the way her hair's coming out on the one side. I think it's a strong image of a senior girl, something that she'll look back on when she's 80 and say, "Wow, I was crazy stunning looking 18."
Yeah. So I love the motion in the hair. Um, I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more fill light on her left-hand side, just to get a little bit more definition between the end of her hair and the background. But that's really, really nitpicking. And honestly, you could probably just go in and dodge it a little
Yeah.
and pull it out. I love the retouching, and the catch lights in the eyes are just stunning. I think that's so essential to just making striking portraits. She is a little bit tight in the mouth, but it doesn't kill the image for me because she is looking so strong. She has this like Grecian statue thing that I think
Yeah.
is very, very sexy, but like a Grecian statue at a fashion show. Like I love the styling, the whole 9 yards, and you did it in a way that makes her sensual without being provocative, which
Yeah.
is such a fine balance when you're shooting young women
It's tricky.
that haven't necessarily crossed that threshold into wanting to be sexy, and that their parents don't want to think of them as sexy for sure, which is why I never shoot them.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful portrait. And
Okay.
that's a lot harder to do. Like people will look at photographs of naked women all day. I can take a photo with an iPhone of a naked girl and it will get more likes than the most beautiful portrait just because it's a naked girl. Like so people crutch a lot on sexuality to distract from mediocre artistry. And you nailed this because you're exceptional.
Thanks.
Period. So I'm gonna give it a 3. I think it's an exceptional image.
Okay. So I definitely agree. You know, I'm shooting a lot of senior girls, and I am struggling a lot to walk that line between them not being sexy, but them getting the kind of fashion style portraits that they want. So, any tips for that? I mean,
did you tell me that you bought my book before I invited you?
I did, yeah. Like a week before you invited me, I'd actually bought it without knowing who you were.
Have you actually gotten to read it yet?
I read the whole thing.
Okay. So there's if you go back through, there's actually a chapter that breaks down the different kinds of portraiture into sort of levels of, from beauty to like highly provocative, and who they best fit for. But the general idea is that you want to nod to it. Like, this is a beautiful girl, and there are plenty of people that would look at that and go, yep, jailbait, just because she's gorgeous and she's striking. And but the general rule is you show less skin, obviously, because skin denotes sensuality and sexuality, and a lot more portraits. Like, if you look at any of the photos that I do take that are less provocative, they're usually not full body shots, because body shots say figure says sexuality. This is about our face, and you're getting so much energy and intrigue from that expression that's where the seduction lies. So I would definitely focus on hair, eyes, lips, and she will look at them and she will feel sexy and she will feel beautiful, but it won't cross that line into being beyond her age. The other thing, little subtle psychology things, instead of shooting girls facing towards the camera, shoot them facing away, because everything that's considered an erogenous zone is on the front of the body. Yeah. So turning her around, having her look over her shoulder, even if you're having her in the same pose, just move around her differently and shoot from those angles. Depth of field is also a really good one. Like, you just keep the focus on the face, and even if it is a full body shot, having it softer will tone it out a little bit. And a lot of it's just looking at other images. Like, find other people that do beauty and glamour and photography of senior girls, and see what's working and dissect it for yourself, what moves you without being sexual.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Last one.
Do you grade it?
Say that again?
You grade it?
Yes, I think it's exceptional. I'm going to give you 3.
Oh, God. Now I see the problems. Her lips.
Yes, this is the same girl from the second one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why do I like this? Well, I like it because she's wearing an outfit that I made pretty much entirely.
Nice.
I like the light in this image. I think her expression is pretty fierce, because this was a really timid client. I think her eyes look good. I like the hair. I like that pose, but I get a feeling you're going to tell me you don't like that pose. Like, she could be toilet or something.
Well, now I see it, now that you said that.
They say that.
No, the pose doesn't actually bother me that much. And I'm going to take it off and just show you one more thing. When you have a girl and you want to do that pose, like, there's a difference between shooting women. If you want to make her look longer and slender, instead of having her shoulders up, even though you have that kind of hunched over kind of feel and that's what you're going for, if you do that and then just have her lean towards you a little bit and drop that shoulder.
Okay.
It makes such a profound difference in the overall shot. And really, you can take both and you can decide, because some people will like that. But again, like, anytime people are hunched over or curled up, it denotes insecurity. Like, a lot of understanding posing is understanding body language and why we do certain things. If you want it to be a fierce shot, it's in contrast when you have her curl up and say, I'm shy, I'm timid, I'm vulnerable, I'm protecting myself, and then go, give me a fierce face. Like, creates this dichotomy. You know, like if you're going to have her bring it in her face, then it's full frontal because that's engaging. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If you're going to have her be shy and timid, then, and especially the higher you bring the shoulder up, again, good for little girls. You know, if you have her bring the shoulder up, then it changes the expression.
Okay.
So just things to kind of pay attention to going forward. But this one, I don't mind at all. I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more light across like her abdomen because you kind of lose it in the shadows there a little bit, so that you can really see the slenderness of her upper body. But the lighting on it's really beautiful. I definitely would have dropped that shoulder, and maybe had her pull her chin away from her shoulder just a little bit so you get the back of the line of her neck.
Okay.
Just because the necks, like long, slender necks, really aid in saying this person is a slender person. Like people don't realize how much the neck actually weighs into how your eye perceives their weight.
Okay.
But overall, I like it. No, I don't have a problem with it. It's very glamour. I like the kind of monochromatic feel that it has, even though it's in full color because of the background and the dress. And the dress is beautiful, so you did a beautiful job with that. I love the styling. She is a little bit tight in the lips again, but that may just be her. Like certain clients, that's just really, really hard, no matter who's photographing them, because that's who they are. So. I'm going to give it a commendable. I think it's good, but I don't think it quite crossed the mark into exceptional.
Okay.
Okay. So now you're going to go back up to that little green square, and you're going to take it off of screen share so that I can see your lovely face.
Okay.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about where you are and where you're going. We've been talking about this privately, but let's just kind of conceptualize where you're going.
Where am I going? So this is kind of funny. I don't know if it's just a different energy that I've brought to my business since I've joined the Arcanum, but it's kind of starting, like I told you last night, it's starting to roll a little bit for me with more bookings. And I guess I'm a little bit worried that my work is getting kind of boring. Do you know what I mean? Like
and then you're bored creating it, or
looking at it and thinking, is this just boring? I don't know. You know, when you've looked at something so much, when I get towards the end of editing a shoot out, and you just start thinking, I don't know, is this crap or is this any good? Or
it's good, but if you have to question it, that means it's not exceptional. And you know it, like how you've had exceptional image that you've been like, oh, I just killed it on this one, right?
Yeah. So, so I feel like my business is starting to pick up. And did you ever see that thing that Sue Bryce said once, that when she was first in business, that she was terrified someone was going to out her as a fraud? It's kind of how I feel. Like I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for a shoot to go horribly wrong and have someone come back and say, what the hell? And we never buy this, or I don't know. It's just weird new business feelings.
Yeah, you know, and we were talking about that with Audie in the last critique. Like, fear is crippling for people. It really, really is. But it's a waste of imagination. You know, like let's just go and play on the other side of that thought process. Like, what if somebody loves it and goes and shows it to everyone, and you don't know, but their second cousin twice removed happens to be married to one of the cousins of Beyonce, who somehow sees the photo and is like, hey, I really want one of your photos. What if that happens?
I would crap my pants.
But that's where you should be putting your energy. Like, your work is good. It is, you know. I see a lot of Sue Bryce influencing it, and you know, more Tia, because she's incredibly successful and she does beautiful work, and I love her work too. The difficulty comes in trying to find people that inspire and influence your work without your work starting to echo them. And
yeah,
if we're being totally honest, you're echoing Sue right now quite a bit.
Well, because I follow the formula.
Yeah, and that's great, and I'm sure some of it will work for you, but it's like having a family recipe that's been handed down 6 generations. Like at some point somebody added cloves to it, and then somebody else went, it needs a little cinnamon. So everybody adds their own take on it. So, mimicry is a great format for learning. Your work is good. You're beyond the point where you should sell yourself short by being a knockoff version of somebody else.
Right.
You
I'm
know,
just, I'm just worried that like the posing, everything that doesn't come naturally to me, I'm still kind of blanking out in the middle of a shoot. Like, oh gosh, what am I? How am I going to shoot next? I've got to pull 30 images out of this shoot to show them, and
shoot more. And don't be afraid to crutch on things while you're learning. The same way that you have training wheels on your bike before you learn how to ride without it, like you may just be in this place right now where you're still training, and that's okay. But it's all about how you sell it. Like if you need reference points because you get like a deer in headlights moment where you're going, I don't know how to pose her, or I don't know what to do, then have a Pinterest board or have my book or something else handy. But the thing is that it's all about presentation. So if I was going to shoot you and I didn't know how to pose you, or I was just having like a panic moment or whatever, and I was like, okay, just wait a second, because I'm just gonna go through here and look at these, and not that one. Maybe we'll do that. Okay, we're gonna do that. And then I was going back and forth. You'd be like, this chick has no idea what she's doing.
right, which is what I don't want to be like in my shoes.
Right. But if I took the same book and went, oh my gosh, you know what? Hang on a second. And I went and got this book, and I was like, hey, I just got this book, or I was just pinning these things. Here's my iPad, whatever. And this one shot made me think of you when you inquired. Here it is. What do you think if we do something like this?
Mm-hmm.
And they go, oh my God, I love that. Let's do it. Then it's just a point of reference for both of you to build off of. And it actually helps your models too, to be able to see something as a visual reference and go, okay, that's what we're doing. It helps them get into character and into pose too, if they know what you're looking for. And if they're like, no, that's a little too risque for me, or, I don't know if that would work, I'm not really into that, go, oh, okay, well, let's sit down and have a conversation about what you do like. Like a lot of times while my models are spending 45 minutes in hair and makeup, I'll let them go through Pinterest boards or magazines or stuff and go, what do you like? Because you can go, oh, I want to do something really sexy. To me, that means you're taking off all your clothes and the only thing you'll be wearing is maybe an insensible pair of shoes and a smile. But for them, they might be thinking sexy is a sundress.
Yeah.
It just...
like I was booking a client last night on the phone, and she actually said to me, can you make me a Pinterest board and I'll pin to you how I want to look? And I was like, oh my God, of course. So I made her a board and she's already filled it up. So I'm thinking, this is going to be a great shoot because I've got a legitimate excuse to pull up my laptop and say, all right, now let's try this. So I guess I need to do that with more clients. Like
I do that with all of mine because, again, like, their idea of sexy and my idea of sexy can be two different things. And what they want and what I have in mind for them when I see them might be totally different. If they're giving you reference points, then you know that by doing those things that they're going to love it because they picked it out already. So
why did I not do that before?
I didn't do it the first 4 years either, but now everyone that drops me a line, and it gets them excited about getting ready for the shoot too, because once they go, okay, well, how do I book? Then you focus on money, and that's everybody's least favorite part because nobody wants to part with their money. And most artists don't like doing business either. So it's like, great, okay, well, we're going to put the $500 deposit down, and that'll hold your studio for the day. And then what we're going to do is, do you have Pinterest? You haven't heard of Pinterest? Your life is never going to be the same and your husband's going to hate me. Go to Pinterest.com and make an account. And then what I want you to do is invite me to the board and you can pin anything you want. Nothing's off limits. Let's find sexy stuff. Let's find ball gowns. If you want to be covered in chocolate, 25 feet up on a ladder, I'm all about that. I will wrap you in string until you turn blue from it. Let's do this. And they get really excited, and that's when I get some of the best images that I have, and they are thrilled about them. And since we started doing that, nobody has spent less than $2,000 on me in the last 2 years in a session because I'm giving them exactly what they want.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see what happens with this lady that just booked with me. I'm going to be curious to see what happens in her buying session to see if that
Yeah.
makes a difference for me or.
So what I want you to do, though, in order to be careful to not just misdirect from Sue training to somebody else, is I want you to look at that and go, this is my starting point always. I'm
Right.
not replicating it. I'm using it as a point of inspiration.
Yeah, not just each pose verbatim and.
Yeah. So
I've like got these set poses in my head now from watching so much of Sue Bryce that I'm like, okay, I'm panicking. All right, let's do the stool pose where you're like this, now go like this, now go like this. It's like, wow, I'm going to have to be careful because I'm going to end up with every single shoot that's going to start looking, which she says is okay.
She does, but she says it's okay to the 17,000 people in her group that are doing the exact same thing. And it is okay. Like, a lot of them make great money. It's perfectly fine for people that like taking pretty pictures of women and don't want to be creative. But Claire, I see it in your work. You're an artist. You are not an echo.
It's okay, but I'm already bored.
Well, that's another problem.
So I'm already bored of it. So that's why I started. You saw some of like the. Did you see that one I put with the girl in our bayou out there wrapped in fabric with the headdress I made for her? So that's why I've started moving into that for my seniors. And that's been interesting because I posted that picture and I already had a couple of seniors booked for a regular senior session. And one of them already contacted me and asked, can I add a shoot like that onto my regular shoot? So now I kind of see, I think that that's going to evolve, I hope, into maybe making more fairy tale type shoots for these senior girls, so I'm not just doing a boring senior shoot for them.
Yeah, and Claire, the nice thing is that the more that you deviate away from what everyone else is doing, the more niche you are, the more people pay per session because they can only get it from you. And here's the thing is that the thing that I hate is going in and seeing talented photographers that have so much potential, learn from someone else. And if you go back when I first discovered Sue a couple of years ago, you'll see my Sue phase. I had a Sue phase for a minute too, where I was like, oh yes, flowers and everyone and hands everywhere. And, you know, like,
see it.
Yeah, and I do it with other people too. Like I had a Miss Aniela phase for a minute where I was trying to composite all kinds of stuff and shoot her style.
And photo phase right now.
Yeah. So it's, you know, people go through, but they still, if you go through now, like people that know the people I follow can go, oh yeah, that's her phase. You can see she's being influenced, but you can still pick my photos out of a lineup most of the time because they still have my voice in them. That's what you're looking for. So
take a little bit from each one that you kind of obsess about for a short period of time, I guess, that it kind of all maybe muddles together into something unique at the end, hopefully.
So here's what I want you to do. If you're getting to the point where in the session you're reverting back to rules, whether they're Sue or anybody else that you've studied under, and you're going, it's because you're comfortable now. That's your comfort zone. And you're producing good work that your clients are happy with, so it's a fail-safe for you.
Yeah.
That's when you start going, oh, I don't know what to do. You can jump back to that and you will produce stuff that's pretty enough. That's why it's okay that you shoot like Sue, because Sue sells the work and those images sell because they're pretty.
Right.
So, but here's the thing. I don't want anybody to look at your work and go, oh, that looks like a Sue Bryce photo. I want them to look at your work and go, oh, that looks like a Claire Rhodes photo.
Right.
So the first step to that is you sitting down and really deciding, what is it that Claire's photos look like? What are the words that you want associated with them? Are they provocative? Are they imaginative? Do they look like fairy tales? Are they bright saturated colors, or are they more muted tones where it's an emotive feeling more than a color visual impression? You know, what does that look like? What do I want to do? I feel bored right now shooting these portraits that I've seen everywhere because everybody emulates her, because it just desaturates it. You know, it's diluted now. The potency of those images, everybody went nuts over them because nobody had seen anything like them. Now they're everywhere because she taught everyone how to do it, and everybody wants to be like that. and they're all selling themselves short, and those people will never be anything more than a knockoff, and it frustrates the fuck out of me to watch them do it. It really, really does. Because I see more potential in them for that. I want to know what they have to say. I want to know what they can create. I want to know what comes from their heart and passion and soul, not how good they can replicate something else, because it doesn't matter how good it is. Like, same material, same stitching, same quality, same everything. You will not get the same price for a knockoff bag as you will for the designer, just because of the label. Your name on it is what makes it potent, but only if your name is on it and doesn't have to be. I should be able to look at your images without your name, without your watermark, without seeing that it was you that posted it, and go, oh, that's Claire's new work.
Right.
And that is what makes it valuable, to go, that's Claire's work, because you can pick it out without it.
I agree.
So your skill is up to par. You're just as good as everybody else that's making the kind of money that you want to make. You're doing well. You're getting booked. You booked 3 sessions in the last week or 2 that were like top packages for you. Yeah.
I don't make my clients. Hold on. Can I make it so they stop stinging every second? Oh, I've lost you. Shit.
Oh no.
Okay. So do you want to talk a little bit of business? Are we allowed to?
Yeah, absolutely. We're on your time, so we got 15 minutes.
So I don't make my clients pay me a session fee. Okay, they come and do the whole session for free.
Okay.
And then and I kind of sell that to them as in, okay, you're going to come. I'm going to spend a lot of time with you before the shoot, helping you, blah blah blah. I'm going to do your hair and makeup, and I'm going to carefully, select and edit your photos. There's no obligation to buy until you view your images. So there's never an obligation to buy. And then they can buy off 3 packages, or they can buy a la carte.
Okay.
So yeah, my clients are not having to pick before they come see me. What do you think about that?
I don't think that it's wrong to not have a sitting fee, but you should have a mandatory deposit. Because people don't have respect for what they don't have to invest in.
So how would I do that? So if I said, okay, it's $300 to secure your, and then you can spend that on your package, but what if they don't want to buy anything? I mean, that's never happened to me, but what would I say to them? As in, would I give that back to them, or?
No, no. Claire, who works for free?
Apparently I do quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, but you're not. I mean, you are getting paid, but that's backwards business thinking. Like, you're devaluing yourself, and you're teaching them to not value you either. You can't promote a high-end product and a high-end price tag if you're afraid to tell them that you cost money.
So how much do you think I should make them give me to book their session? Do you want me to go over my packages?
What's your highest package?
Highest package is $1,200, and that is.
Well, we're going to work before level 9 at getting that up a little higher. But tell me what's involved in that. What do I get for your highest package?
For the highest package, you will get 25 images that you can have either in the supervised folio box, which nobody ever buys, or a 10 spread 12 by 12 album, so you can choose which one you want, plus a 16 by 24 standout. And then you get every single file that I've edited, you get it on a disc. So that's a huge deal because they're full-sized images.
Okay, wait. Go over that one more time. Tell me that again.
All right. So you get the folio box, choice of folio box, or a 12 by 12 album, a Pro DPI album, plus a 16 by 24 wall standout, wall canvas, whatever you want to call it. Plus the images could be 30, could be more than that, on a disc, full sized.
So they're getting how many photos with that?
Well, I mean, only 25 would fit in the box.
Okay.
Okay. Usually
how many are they getting? Is it 25 whether they get a box or an album?
If they get an album, I'll put whatever they want in the album. It might be less, it might be more.
Nope. There's no reason that your package should be the same if there's the potential for you doing more work. Why should you taking the time to lay out and put an album together with 35 images that you're spending the time editing and retouching cost the same as 25 images?
Well, I guess because I've already done all the editing on the images. See, I could never, I know I've watched you do it, and I don't know how you have the balls to do it. I could never show an unedited image. I just could not do it.
You know what? I said the same thing, and I made that argument like viciously for like 2 years before. But I can tell you that since I started doing that, my package rates have doubled.
I don't get that. If I showed a lot of these girls that unedited image with cellulite and a little bulge that I push in here in 2 seconds with liquify, they wouldn't buy it. I don't understand how you're achieving that. Are you only shooting like super hot people?
No.
So I don't get the second.
Yes, all of my clients are gorgeous and beautiful, and I know, but some of it is just knowing how to photograph them. Like, I would never turn out and post unedited images. I would never give them to the client, but they understand that they're proofs, you know, and that's explained to them. And if they go, well, this doesn't really look at your work like your work, I have before and afters that I only show my clients to go, well, this is an image before and this is after. So what you're paying for is for the fine art image that I'm creating. You know, but if you don't want to do that, I would very, very highly recommend that you look into maybe purchasing on-one software.
I have Fundy for my album design. Okay. So the album design is it's not too bad. I mean, it's the only thing that's time-consuming about the album design is just going back and forth with them.
Yeah, but they should not get more product for the same price. Like, your prints are your products, your images are your products. They should not pay the same price for 20 images that they pay for 35. Those have value. Those are pieces of art that you're creating for them.
Even though I've already edited them.
It doesn't matter. Whether you already edited them or not. Yeah, that's tough. And honestly, the reason that I started showing it was because I got tired of editing images that they didn't select. It was so much wasted time.
Which it is, but it also makes it easier for me in the album design if I haven't limited their images, because I find it hard to do the design if I'm like limited. I mean, what size albums are you doing? Are you doing a square?
I don't do albums. I stopped doing them for a couple of reasons. The way that I only do the image boxes. I do the folio boxes from Fineo, who are now one of my sponsors, and I love them. And here's why, because they don't necessarily want to show off all of their images.
Which I agree, but I just can't seem to push people down the folio box aisle. It's
just the way. Do you have one there that you're showing them?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's how it depends on how you shoot your sessions too. Because for me, they usually go from like PG-13, like say I'll have some beautiful portraits that are like your senior photo as far as like everybody can see it, but then I also wrap girls in string and shoot them naked. So, you know, they may want to show that beautiful portrait to their dad, but they don't want him seeing her in a G-string. You know, same thing with wall prints. Like, most people love putting family photos up, but they don't want to put a picture of them in thigh highs, you know, in a 24 by 36 in their bedroom, even if it's set aside just in case somebody goes through. So the nice thing about the folio boxes is that it creates a collection that you can go through and you can show them all. And then I have these little like table easels, and they're all scrolly and they look really pretty and they fit the images on them beautifully. And I go, you can just pick whichever one you want to set out. Set out the one of you in the ball gown that you love. Set out the beautiful portrait, and then, you know, when your boyfriend comes over later, set out the one in that little red ribbon thing that we spent 20 minutes tying you into.
I mean, I agree with all of that about the folio box, but the honest truth is I make more profit off the album if we're just talking about hard product. That album from Pro DPI is about $150 cheaper for me to produce than that folio box from Fineo, which is dang expensive. It's like, what, $300 and something once you put all the good quality mats into it. 25 image one. We're gonna have
to look at what you're ordering, because I'm not spending that much. And I like, they are one of my sponsors. They pay for me to go speak and stuff and hook me up, but I don't get a discount on like the actual printing and
Right.
pricing of it, because I love them and their business too. So I think that part of that is respecting the fact that their quality of work means that I pay for it so that I can have the quality of work for my clients. So
And I love
um,
their stuff. I mean, I love that box and I love their mats. I don't know.
if the albums are working for you, they're working for you. I just don't sell them because I don't like them and I don't like the way that they work for me. But, you know, I think because I'm behind them and because I love them and I show them off, they buy them because I attract my kind of people.
I
If
don't
you
mind
like
me
doing the,
consciously pushing them to the albums because I like the albums. So
okay, well,
that's
then that's why they're buying them, because you're pushing to them.
and that's the first thing I show them. Like, look at this beautiful album, and they're all like, "Oh, look at that!
And then
Yeah."
you're like, oh, and look at this folio box. That's what I do when I don't want to sell
It's
something.
really
So,
close. It's a giant pain in the ass to get ready, and it's really expensive, and you don't want
okay,
that.
then drop the folio boxes.
Drop them
Drop them. When's the last time you sold one?
to the lady that we just critiqued twice.
Okay, how
Sold
recent was that?
two. I've only sold two my entire business career,
Okay,
and I've
drop
sold
them.
lots of albums.
Drop them.
Okay, they're so
You
pretty.
don't like doing them. You're making scrunchy faces at them as we talk about them. Like, go back and watch your video. Like, that is not a face of love. It's not. And if you're not noticing that you're doing it, then you're probably doing it while you're in
They're so
the sale
heavy.
room.
They're so cumbersome and heavy.
See, don't drop them.
Okay, they're useless.
Yeah, it's the most beautiful paperweight you will ever have. Get rid of them. You know, if they're not working for you and you like doing the albums and that's your thing, then have it. Because here's the other thing, is that people will buy more if there's less options. The more choices you give people, the less they buy. So that's it. But I would limit the number of images because you're still paying time to retouch them. So either you're going to do it with the frame of mind that you know, and I would design maybe templates, or if you're not using them, like if you have a program, I would have, you know, my 20 image template and my 30 image template and my 50 image template for the album, so that it's just fill it in. And I would spend a lot of time filling it out, and I would design maybe 2 or 3 options, because it shouldn't be one size fits all depending on how the shoot goes, but you can have 2 or 3 options to lay it out with different things, or pre-designed. Like, I never had pre-designed templates for an album, but I had pre-designed templates for the pages that I would design,
Right.
so that they didn't look cliche and the person down the street didn't have them. I still spent the time building them, but once they were built, they were built. So the next time I went, oh, this would look really good with this set, I could just go pull the template out and then drop the photos in, you know, and you can do that in Photoshop.
Fundy makes doing an album really easy, I've got to say. So I guess that's why I don't mind doing them. So
Okay. I'm fine with it. You don't have to mind doing it. Just get paid for it.
Okay. Do we have time to move on to one more topic?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. This is my question more about specialization. So I'm shooting a lot of seniors, which I like. It's okay. It's kind of fun interacting with those kids. But I want more boudoir type stuff, like you have.
Okay.
Can I have both? Oh no.
Have both in the sense of what? What's your concern?
Both on my website, both on social media. Like, can I one day have a picture on Facebook of a pretty senior looking all nice, and then the next day have some chick in her underwear?
I mean, you can, as long as you don't end up mixing them up and shooting seniors in their underwear. You know, you will lose some clients that will go, oh, no, I'm not taking my 16-year-old daughter or my 17-year-old daughter to her, because then she's going to call next year and shoot her in a thong. You know, like, there will be people that will be a turnoff for, as far as bringing their kids to you. But there will be other people, like I've had women that have asked me to do senior sessions or family portraits because they saw my boudoir work. And then I've had others that have called and booked me as a referral from someone else, and then gone on my website and seen what I do and dropped me a line and gone, by the way, can I come in after we're done with her session and do like a grown-up session? Like, so it'll just be a trade-off for it. But the bottom line is that if you do one thing really, really well, people will assume you have a talent for others. Like, I've had people contact me and be like, can you photograph my Great Dane? And I'm like, right, because that's anywhere in my portfolio. But because I take such beautiful pictures of women that blow them away, they go, wow, they don't go, oh, she photographs women so beautifully. They go, she's a really good photographer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so given the choice between the two, what do you want to do if you had to choose?
If I could only choose, it would be boudoir, beauty boudoir. But here's when you're going to tell me I'm screwing up here somehow. I don't make very much money off my
Don't
boudoir.
speak for me.
I make a lot of money off my seniors because those senior mums cannot walk away from images. I've found that if I put 25 or 30 beautiful images out there for them, and I say, all right, well, if you're going to go for that package, you're going to have to knock off 20 of them. They can't do it. Oh, no, I've got to have that. So they're easier to sell to, and I make much more money off my seniors. But I love shooting boudoir much more.
Well, do you want to shoot for passion or profit?
Both.
Good answer. But again, choices must be made if you have to choose. Do you want to shoot for passion or profit?
I have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. And that's fine. You know, and, you know, ideally at some point we don't have to choose. But it's a matter of which one first. So here's the thing. If you decide that for right now where you are in your life, that it is more important to have the profit, then what we need to do is we just need to focus on the seniors,
Mm-hmm.
but on making them more exciting and passionful for
Right.
you, and how to bring that alive a little bit more so you're not feeling bored. Then we can work on the passion part of it. If you want to shoot for passion because you're at a place right now that you can do that, and you don't mind a little bit of the loss of income because you're not making as much, then we can work on your business plan to help elevate that profit so that you're making the same or more money on boudoir as you were making on seniors.
Okay.
You know? But if you're juggling two, you can't use both hands on one.
Yeah.
So you're going to end up being good at both and not exceptional at both. So, you know, and I've said this to a couple of people, like, it's not which one, it's which one first. Which one do you really want to build? Because you should be a specialist, which doesn't mean that you can't do the others. It means that's what you're known for. You know, in the same way that a heart surgeon can diagnose you with the flu or prescribe you something for a stomach ache, you know, but you wouldn't trust your general practitioner to perform open heart surgery on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you want to command a premium price and you want to be known for shooting these beautiful boudoir images, then you're a boudoir photographer. This ripped my heart out because I am a hopeless romantic and I loved shooting weddings. I loved it. I'm such a girly girl with that, and my wedding was in the middle of a blizzard and a disaster and only 25 people showed up, and I didn't like it, so I live vicariously through my brides. I love the romance of that. I love telling their stories. I really, really enjoy being a wedding photographer. I'm not like some of the other people that are like, I hate it, but it makes me money. Like, I really love doing it. And I went to a agency that I really wanted to look at having work with me and be my agent. And he said, listen, sweetheart.
You talking about the guy that mentors Jen Rosenbaum?
No, that's totally different. He's like a motivational coach, but and he talks about specialism a lot too. But this was actually like an agency for photographers. Like, they work with like photographers like Marcus Klinko and Andrani and you know, like really, you know, like Annie Leibovitz and like that kind of caliber of people, and that was where I wanted to go. And so I wrote him because I'm, you know, obviously very, very shy, and said, it's my birthday and I would like a present from you. And I think he was just really curious what I was going to ask for. And I was like, I need to know what I need to do to become one of your photographers, because I want to shoot the covers of these magazines and I want to, you know, photograph celebrities, and I know that my work is good, and I know that it'll get better, and I know that I can do this, and what do I have to do to get to that level? That's my aspiration right now. And he went, sweetheart, I've already seen your work. I know who you are. And I was like, really? And he's like, yes, and you're never going to get picked up by an agency. And I went, ow, like I just feel my ego deflating. And he's like, and it doesn't have to do with the quality of your work. It has to do with the fact that when people go to your website to view your work, they're seeing wedding photos and they're seeing children and they're very beautiful pictures, but that makes you a portrait photographer of a studio, not, not a high-end artist.
Right.
Which do you want to be? Because if you do, you have to cut everything else out.
So would I have to cut all my seniors off my website?
You could probably have them on 2 different websites. I've seen a lot of photographers do that with success, but if whatever you want to be known for, then you need to put into that. Otherwise, you will be a very successful and very lovely senior portrait and boudoir photographer. But you won't be that Claire Rhodes.
I won't be the one that people go to for boudoir in this town.
Exactly. Like you think about it, like if you want the very best of anything, you're going to go to someone that is all they do.
The problem I have with this is this age group that it seems to appeal to boudoir, they just don't have very much money to spend, it seems like. I guess you're going to disagree with that.
Payment plans.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that. Okay.
So I have stay-at-home moms, and I have women that work, and I have poor broke college kids. I have every single kind of person that you can imagine come in for sessions. There is no affluent zip codes. There's no, my ideal client is a college graduate with 2.5 kids living in these districts. Like, I don't do that. I want people that love my work. People buy things that they can't afford all the time. They make stupid purchases that are not logical because it is an emotional response to what they want. They buy big screen TVs, they buy houses they can't afford, they buy new cars when there's nothing wrong with the one that they're driving now just because they want it.
Right.
If your people aren't spending money, then there's some kind of disconnect in the message that's saying what you're asked to being part with is less than what I'm giving you.
Okay.
And if you listen to them, you will hear what that is. They will tell you. Oh, I don't know if I can spend that much money, says, I'm not sold. You didn't sell me what you're asking me to part with financially does not seem comparable to what I'm getting out of it. So is that the quality of your work? Is that the products that you're using? Is that the experience? What is that for them? What are the people really commending you on when they write you love letters and go, oh my God, I love this photograph? Because people write me all the time about the experience. Oh my God, I felt so beautiful. I can't stop looking at this picture. I can't believe it's me. That's confidence. It's not about the photo and the fact that I took a pretty photo. It's about how they feel about themselves in that photo. You have to convey that. If you convey that, that is worth more than anything else that they're paying, and it's a lot. Like $2,000, $3,000, that's more than most people's mortgages on their homes.
I agree. And I'm only just now starting to get comfortable with even saying my prices.
Good. They should make you a little, that face, you should have that a little bit. You shouldn't be able to afford yourself every month.
Right.
And when you get to the point that every single person is booking you, it's a sign that your quality is better than your price. And it's time to raise those prices.
Go up a little bit. Okay.
Good food for thought?
Yes, lots and lots to think about.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Your homework assignment, your extra credit, is to sit down and write me a list of everything that Claire Rhodes photography is.
Okay. As in the experience?
The experience, the artistry, the lighting, the posing, the business, the studio, everything that makes you you apart from every other photographer that you've studied under or that you're near. Who are you?
Okay.
This goes back to level 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're looking at, is who you are and who you want to be, what you want people to think of when they think of your name or when they see one of your images. How are they going to pick it out? That's a Claire Rhodes photo. Why is that a Claire Rhodes? What is it about that makes that a Claire Rhodes photo?
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. That's it. We're out of time. I got to go beat up Mackenzie next.
Oh, good luck, Mackenzie. I'm going to get a cup of tea and watch.
All right. Sounds good. I will see you again at level 9.
That was so helpful. Thank you. I had all those questions I've been dying to ask you since I joined the Arcanum, so that was great. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome, and you get to do it again at level 9, and you get to bring a whole new list of questions.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna have to hit up Model Mayhem and really start shooting some boudoir so that I'm ready for that
Sounds
next
good.
week.
Lots and lots of shots, and share them.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Jess.
All right, I'll see you later. Bye.